Hey, welcome to Dividing Truth with the MAG7. That's right. It is Thursday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that means that it is Dividing Truth time. My name is Lexi Jones, and you're listening here on Radio ND. And we want you to, if you're watching us live on Facebook, share that broadcast out. If you're listening, text a friend, tag a friend, let them know that it's Dividing Truth time. Get them on the show. Today, you all are in for a magnificent treat. I use the word magnificent. Yes, the magnificent treat. And so our topic today is, whose vision is it anyway? From existing to living. That's right. Whose vision is it anyway? From existing to living. And so our feature story today, if you've been watching us since our inaugural show, we've been allowing you to get to know each one of us as the host here through story and also tying it to a business topic. And so, again, today we'll be talking about vision, and we have none other than the amazing Danita Scott, who's going to be sharing her story. I'm going to have her introduce herself as we go into her story. But you want to be here for her story, and you want to tell all your friends. Get them on the broadcast now. Tell them that we're on live, because Danita's going to be sharing with us how the death of her father shook things up for her and for her life and the trajectory it has put her on. So before we get into her story, I'm going to have my other co-hosts introduce themselves.
Hey guys, I'm Jyoti Randall, speaker, author, coach, and I just help women in particularly get set to take their life to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Rhonda A. White here, your conference strategist, and I help overextended small business owners and small corporations with their signature farm event so that they're not exhausted. And I do all the work for you through planning, logistics, and management.
Awesome, awesome. And again, I'm Lexi Jones. I'm a business coach, profit strategist, international speaker, helping women in entrepreneurship to create wealth. So once again, welcome to the Dividing Truth, where we are giving you the pure, unadulterated answers for today's business owner. So let's get to our topic for the day, which is, whose vision is it anyway? From existing to living. We're going to have our feature story, our magnificent sister, Danita, to share with us a little bit about who she is before we get into her story. Danita?
So hey, happy Thursday. Super excited to have you for another minute. I'm normally like always like woohoo, and I'm you know, like I said, different faces, different people. But my name is Anita A. Scott. I'm originally from sunny San Diego, California. I have lived in the South for many years, so I consider myself a Southern peach. And I specialize in helping business entrepreneurs execute their brilliance. What do I mean by that? I help them with strategy, accountability, and action so they can get their goals done and feel more accomplished in less time. So that is a little bit about me. Another very important fact to know about today specifically, I am on ice today. This is my best friend's birthday, and she got enjoying her life. So I'm about to have to pick up in the middle of our interview. I like to keep everything real. My God friend, I'm gonna be like, hold on, wait, hold Logan, just go. Like I'm doing multiple things because that's how real life entrepreneurship works. It doesn't work where everything fits in the box. That's not my life. So nice to meet everybody.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Janita, I am truly looking forward to getting into your story and all of the wisdom and the nuggets that you're going to drop on everybody today. Listen, y'all, Danita uses words so eloquently. I can't even begin to tell you how eloquently she uses words and the impact that they have on people when she speaks. So you're in for a treat. So Danita, listen, wherever you want to start with your story, go right ahead.
Okay, well, I think the funnest place to start from is kind of like how was like an awkward child, right? So, like my parents, they have four kids, and they were like they're from the South, so we have a lot of traditional Southern values. And I was always that kid that bucked against like So one of the things that I found just hilarious, I was talking to my mom about this yesterday, is as a kid, I didn't like buffets. I still don't. Like, it don't matter what kind of buffet, it don't matter if it's $100 buffet. If other people can touch my food, before I can touch my food, I'm like, no. So about fourth grade, I stopped going to buffets, and they would have to custom order food for me. And so that's kind of like, how extra I am. But I always wanted like a $2 like Wendy's sandwich. So I'm extra but simple. And so with that extraness, what I learned about myself from that is that as a leader, I always needed to be clear about my vision and about how I wanted to go about my life. Even as a kid, I was clear that I didn't see life the same way. And so growing up, I had the opportunity to do a bunch of things. And I felt like I was good at, I was a makeup artist, I sold cars, I um, worked in nonprofit management for about 10 years. I worked at a church. I've done a whole bunch of different careers. And I found myself in my late 30s really feeling that I kind of skipped around life and not really accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. It was like I had checked some things off the list, but there was a lot of things that were missing. And it was frustrating to me because I felt like there was supposed to be some epiphany moment where I was going to have it all together, and that never happened. Like I thought, like once I turned 35, I was gonna be like, yes, all together, yeah. I had my kids and my husband, and that hasn't happened yet. So I felt a real sense of failure. So I would say from the end of from 35 to about 39, I felt like a failure in life. Like even though I had accomplished things and I had done things in my life, it wasn't what I really wanted, and so it made me feel like all that extra specialness that my parents had put into me, and all that love and all that devotion was wasted. And so it went from feeling really positive and good about my life to feeling really negative and scared about my life because I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I was working at a great organization at the time, and I was a leader in the organization, and I just felt like I was kind of stuck there. Like um, there was a moment when I went into a Kroger one day, and there was a bug zapper, like one of those, like I live in the South. So there was a bug zapper, and it was like at the front door, and it was like the bugs would fly into the front door, they would get zapped by the bug, and I was like, I'm that bug. Right? I'm just stuck here. Here in life, and just things that make me, and it just never feel good to me anymore. So in the process of my life not feeling good to me anymore, my father became sick, and my parents were married for 45 years. So at year 44, my dad was actually in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for my parents' anniversary, and he had been in a coma at that time for 10 days. And on the 11th day, the day after their anniversary, he woke up. And I felt like God answered my prayers and helped me to restart my life. And I was like, yes, okay. So now my purpose is to help take care of my family and to be a better daughter and not be so busy with my life and really just, hone in and just do what I'm supposed to do and just be great at being a daughter. And that's not how my life went. Within 1 year from that point, I witnessed my dad passing away in front of me. And it was the pivotal moment of my life because I realized that all the things I had done before still needed to have value and meaning, but that I wasn't going to continue life anymore with this. When my dad passed away, he was 4 years old, and at the time I was 39, so I was like, if I only have like 20 some more years, like, is this all? And I felt that I was just not making any, I was just making basic progress. There was nothing wrong with my life. I just had like, go to work, come back home, do the same thing. It was nothing right, it was nothing wrong. And so I just made a crazy decision for my birthday of the following year, because he died in December of 2015. In March of 26, no, actually, I'm sorry. He died at the end of 2015, and I worked for an entire 1 year. Next year, in March of 2017, I quit my job for my birthday.
Okay, Danita, before you keep going, because I want to ask, so how did you go from this child who clearly knew what she wanted, right? I don't want the buffet. I don't want anybody's buffets. Matter of fact, to translating that into life, and now you find yourself where, like you said, you just go to work, you come home, you whatever. What for you? What do you think happened to you to go from that child to the point where you were prior to the death of your dad?
Good question. I think I tried to subscribe to someone else's vision for my life. I thought success meant that I had 2.5 kids and a garage and a husband, and if I didn't have that, then I wasn't successful. I didn't honor the fact that I happened to be single at any point in my life, and I felt like if I didn't have just that one piece, because I had education, I had friendships, I just didn't have that one piece, that made me unsuccessful. And so I counted myself out for success because of that. It shaped my identity, and I wasn't able to understand the benefits of who I am and what I had to offer to life.
So, Danita, I kind of want to piggyback off of Lexi's question because as you was talking, I wrote some things down that I thought was just adorable. First of all, the Southern Beach, love it. And then you said you was an awkward child, which I don't think you were. I love the fact that even as a child, you knew exactly what you wanted and what you did not want in life, right? And so what I wrote down, why do you feel like a failure? Because most of the time, the very thing that we picture and we think is the house with the picket fence, with the husband, with the kids, is really not our reality. It's a product of a story that's been told to us. It's a product of a picture that we've seen. It's a product of someone else's vision of what we want to look like. And so I know that there are people that are out there listening to us right now, listening to your story, and people that will catch the replay that probably feel the same way. So my question to you is, for someone who maybe right now is experiencing that same thing, since you have come through it, what would you say to them?
So I think the picture came from my family background. Like my parents were married for 40 something years. My grandparents about the same amount of time, 50 years. Everybody in my family, got married, didn't have any divorces, and so I felt like that's what like the check boxes were. Successful school, which is good. Yeah. I thought that's what it was. And like I had a love relationship early on in my early 20s that lasted a long time. So I was like, okay, so all we need to do is just check this box, like, and it just never got checked. And because it never got checked, that was God's favor on my life.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, in other words, it's like, you know, we need not to allow other people to put us into their story. We need to live our own story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it wasn't a lack of this is something that I wanted. It just found I just felt like in order to really be successful and to accomplish what I was supposed to accomplish, that I had to have it.
Gotcha.
Let me
Awesome.
get my phone off of mute. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rhonda. Good?
Yes.
So, Danita, what was the turning point? What was that light bulb moment? The moment that says, okay, now my dad is gone, and this whole thing that I envision in my life is not exactly the way my life is going, and now I need to just pick up and start somewhere. What was that moment that you said, I need to move. I need to do something. I need to recognize that that picture that's painted is not what my life is going to be like.
Oh yes. So I always give shout outs to one of my colleagues. Her name is Tiffany Talbert, and she had went through a situation where she lost two people near and dear to her back to back, like within days. It was like boom and then boom, and it was like her life was just different. And so I asked her probably about 4 nights into my grief because I'm a checklist person. So on the checklist, I take care of my mama and my siblings and me, and I had to do all those things before I could allow myself to grieve my dad's death. And so once I felt like that part had stopped, I realized that I was in a serious deep depression because for 4 months I would go to work and watch Grey's Anatomy. I never seen a show before, ever. And so for 4 months, that's all I did. Like from January to April, like I watched every episode of season 1. And so I was just like, I think that's weird. I don't think I'm supposed to do that. So I asked the person I'm talking about, Tiffany, I said, how did you deal with this? And she was like, oh, I was like, book an appointment. And I'd never been to therapy. No one in my family went to therapy, so I definitely felt like a weirdo. But I
go to work and survive.
Isn't that something how life can take a turn and we automatically go in this survival mode, right? And we forget about truly living life and truly just thriving in life. And wow, I mean, that just touched on, I'm sure something for all of us is here, just having been in that spot of surviving.
That's all I felt like I could do because I didn't feel like I had anything else to offer to life. Like, I felt like I could help my mom with, just the basic stuff, and then I could get up and like, okay, so y'all want to really know me? So I was alone at that time, and I would only clean my house or anything like, basic, like other than to get up and take a shower or whatever, like once every 10 days. I mean, I literally was just like stacks up. It's that like my clothes stacked up. You know what I'm saying? It's just I couldn't function, and I didn't realize that I was in functional depression. So I showed up at work, rocking
Yes.
it. You need to do something. I'm doing it, but time 5 o'clock hit. I have nothing else for the world.
Wow, I can relate to that functional depression portion and just, showing up. And, I often said that when I did begin to confide, in a couple of friends, I often said, yeah, it just, it looks like I'm going about life just, and I look great to everybody else. I look like I'm performing no differently or anything like that. But I knew, there were just these subtle little differences in performance or subtle little differences in, how I interacted with people. And I knew, that I wasn't okay.
Yeah, because I definitely, for sure, in no way, shape, or form, I wasn't okay. I just was existing because I had to. Like, I didn't have a choice about being able to go to work because I had to pay my bills. But I mean, I didn't have to do anything else, and I had support. It wasn't like I didn't have friends or family, but I didn't want them to see me suffering. So I would pretend like I was okay. I was just like, well, I
So,
mean, I'm
Danica,
fine.
so my question to you is like now, like we know you, we know that you are walking in your greatness, like you are transforming people's lives. You're such a leader, within your community and just doing some amazing things. And so once you realize that and that shift took place and you begin to pivot outside of therapy, what some other processes that you went through to get yourself to where you are today?
So therapy was very helpful, and then actually quitting my job was very cathartic. And it wasn't because I didn't like what I did; it was because that wasn't my purpose anymore. I recognize now when God's trying to shift you, you start to get uncomfortable. So the place where I was thriving, then all of a sudden became the place where I wasn't doing so well. And because I wasn't doing so well, I felt I could see just little signs that things weren't going well. Like I was always a top performer, then I wasn't. And then I always, was a favorite, then I wasn't. And it was just a shift that God was showing me, like that season is over.
Wow. So this was this was after your dad passed.
Yes.
Okay.
He passed away in on TV right now. So hold on just one second. Let me get
Yes,
my
do auntie duty. Listen, while she's getting her nephew off the bus, we want to just remind you all to share the broadcast, share it out with everyone. And we are listening, you're listening to Radio Indie. You can listen on the website, radioindie317.com, or you can listen on the Facebook app at Radio Indie, or you can listen on the radio app itself for Radio Indie. And we want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in today. If you're just joining us, Danita is sharing with us about vision, right? And initially, like, whose vision are we living? Whose vision is it anyway? Was the title that I put on the and going from existing to living. So she's shared with us that the death of her father was actually the event, the space and time that showed her that, she was just existing, right? And so that's where we are in her story. Danita, you ready to continue?
I am. Listen, real life entrepreneurship never ceases. You get to be auntie and radio host all at the same time. So yes, I'm ready.
Awesome, awesome. So your father dies, you begin to recognize, activity within yourself that just says, hey, I'm functioning, but this is not cool, right? And so remind us again, you talked about going to therapy,
Yes.
and yeah, go ahead and share more about that.
So I went to therapy, and okay, so I like to be in control. That's something I'm learning how to submit to God. And so I went to enough therapy where I felt like I was good. I wasn't released from therapy. I just went to enough. I was just like, oh, I'm back. I'm better. I'm back. And so I felt better because I was releasing the emotions behind what my expectations were for my life. And then when I felt like I was good enough, then I stopped doing that. I also had moved home to help my mom with some stuff. And so I stopped really in the middle of my process. And in, I think it was November of the year before I quit. So November of 2016, I did a video on Facebook. It was like really one of my first Facebook lives. And I was like, you know what? I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I have all this stuff going on, but I'm pressed. And let me tell you why. And I had a floodgate of people like reaching out to me like, it's me too. And you're not by yourself. And girl, I get it. And so once I started that, I realized that I wanted to be in the entrepreneurial space. And what helped shift me away from all the emotional baggage is I really realized that I had a purpose that wasn't just about me. And it wasn't just about my family. And it wasn't just about me being a wife one day. It was about me accomplishing the will of God and helping others to accomplish the will of God.
So how did you come to the knowledge of that? Did it just drop in your, spirit? Did a carrier pigeon bring a letter? How did you come to that knowledge?
Well, I had always had an interest in a natural gift for speaking. I love talking. I love talking. And God had shown me when I was a kid, a really powerful speaker. And we were at a church conference, and his last name was Scott. And he was like, that's you. And I was like, do you know I don't even know how to sell my Girl Scout cookies? No, I'm not going to be on stage talking about it. And I just heard him at 13, like, that's you. And so, because I always had an interest in speaking as I grew older, then I was just like, well, maybe I can do this as a job. Like, maybe somebody will pay me. So I had a speaking engagement at my mom's church, and they paid me $250. And I was like, I get paid to talk. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think that that's a realization. I think the other ladies can relate too, because we all do some speaking, and I believe that when you first find out, like, what, you can get paid for talking. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, you figure out you can get paid to talk. You hear, or you're somehow. I don't want to say somehow. I know that for believers, it's the spirit that allows us to recall. So it was the spirit that allowed you to recall, that event in your life at the conference, with the speaker, and how that would be you, and bringing all these things to you. So, how did you go from, okay, it's just in here, it's just this thought, this feeling that I have, or something that the spirit shared with me, to implementing that?
Great question. So the first thing I did was I started talking to my friends who were in the business just about it. One of my friends referred a coach to me, and I started working with her, and it was a great start to my business. So she helped me clarify my vision and my message. And then after I quit my job, that's when I met my MAG7 sisters because I went to a conference. I didn't know anybody. I got on a plane and I went to Dallas, and I went to Epic in Dallas, and I met my coach Gabrielle, and that's how I met y'all. And so really my life in entrepreneurship kind of started after that, as a full-time entrepreneur. So I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 2 years and 5 months. So 2 years and 5 months ago, like I was like, and now I can capitalize in a bigger way because I know who I am and how I can bring value to the marketplace.
Listen, I love it. Oh, she said, Danita, you better celebrate that girl.
Yes.
Right? Celebrate that. That's awesome, because we all know on the journey of entrepreneurship, it's tough. It's not as easy as people see. They get to see the end result. They don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see you sweating, you praying. You on the phone with your MAG7 system like, oh my gosh, I can't figure this out. How do you do this? They don't see all of that. So, and you actually, like, you travel nonstop speaking, doing the very thing that you said as a little girl, that ain't me. Okay? And you travel nonstop now all over the United States doing it.
Yes. It's such a grace gift. It's such like a God story because I couldn't on my own have accomplished all of this stuff without the support of so many people. And so any success I have is not due to success. It's success because of submission to the Holy Spirit, submission to the Spirit of God, submission to His mission for my life. And I constantly have to submit. And I'm always like, oh, did anybody want to hear? I mean, like, I always be battling fear, right? And I mean, that is, if I ever had a thorn, like Paul describes, that is my thorn. Like, I battle it still. So even when people see me do great things, I share with my private clients. Do you see this? 5 minutes before I was crying. Literally, I was crying. And now I'm doing this. So I don't want them to ever think that just because I can do something that I've completely arrived without any type of false sympathy.
That is awesome for you to share. I know a lot of people out there can relate to this. I know when I first started seeing you, your message was different. Your message has shifted. Your whole entrepreneurial space, the space that you are in now, has shifted. How did you come to the realization that there needed to be a shift?
So again, I started feeling uncomfortable in my journey probably about a year ago. So about a year ago, one of Erica called me, and she was just like, "Yeah, so God said, if you do what He says, then everything will be okay." And I was like, "Not doing that." So I was like, "Y'all want to start this? Got no extra." And so I was just like, "No, yeah, I appreciate that. That's so sweet." And I kept being uncomfortable. And there was nothing wrong with anything that I was doing. There was nothing wrong with the direction or the advice. It was like I was trying to copy someone else's formula for my life instead of resetting my vision and hearing what God said to me. And really pleasing what I knew was on the inside of me. Being bold enough to say, I'm coming for you. You're my people. And I know that no one's coming for you the way that I see myself coming for you. So I'm coming for you. You need me. And putting myself out there has been scary, but it's been also very successful. And it's been easier to be myself inside of my business than trying to subscribe to anybody else's formula.
So,
That's awesome. Love it.
so whose vision is it?
I honestly know for sure. It was always something God knew. It was just, I was just trying to get in control. And I'm still working on it. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, if I get this much inch, I'll take 3 miles. So I have to try to think that sit down, you can't do this. This is what's going to happen. And just allow God to lead me in everything that I do. And it's not easy because I think I know some stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like there's a whole bunch of stuff in your mind and you're not sure what to do first, or, because that happens to me all the time. There's so much stuff swinging in my head and I'm trying to grab it as it goes across my mind. How do you, finally get a chance to put it in perspective so that you can do one thing at a time? Or can you do that?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm like so excited you asked that question. Because earlier this year, God had me really study how He does things. And so I've taken probably about the last 5 months to study Genesis chapter 1, like every verse. And I know every verse by heart. And so I look at how God created the universe. Because I was like, if He can create a universe, obviously He knows how to set goals. And so I saw, just wait. I need to go back
Yes.
Like, I don't even know miss that. That is important, Danita, because people think it's something new. It ain't nothing new. So go back and repeat that again. Sorry for interrupting you.
Oh no, it's no problem. So in about April of this year, I just asked him. I said, "Well, how did you set goals? Because you're pretty successful." And he showed me in Genesis chapter 1. Now, I haven't really been allowed to. I read other scriptures when I go back to Genesis chapter 1, like all the verses, just in Genesis chapter 1, and I seen so much divine revelation on goal setting, and that divine revelation on goal setting, it will shift your life if you just submit to His way. So when you read in I like the Amplified version of the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth," right? And it said the earth was formed and voidless. And you've heard all that stuff, 100 times. But I asked myself, I said, God, what was your goal originally? And when you go down to verse 24, His goal was to create man in His image and His likeness. And in order to reach that goal, He had to be strategic. So on day one, He only created light. And then I was like, God, everything you do is strategic. All you did was light. And then as soon as He created light, He said it was good. And then He sustained it. So the goodness that He sustained, He affirmed the goodness that He did, and then He sustained it. He kept it in existence. And I was like, now, so when I set a goal and I have 75 steps and 85 attachments, that's wrong. I need to just do the one thing. Like, I need to master the one thing. All of that. Whenever teaching my clients to master one, they've been like smashing their goals.
Danita, you are setting some people free.
Yes.
I love it. Because people, we miss that.
Yes.
We miss that. And it's funny that you said that because Genesis actually is one of my favorite books in the Bible. And you always read it. You're going to read the whole Bible in a year, so you always get through at least Genesis. And it's so funny because every time I read it, there's a new revelation that comes out of it. There's a new revelation that comes out of it. And everything you said is so true because God was so strategic and He was extremely intentional. And it was follow the plan He already wrote out for us. Yeah, listen, I love it. Come on, y'all.
Okay. So
So petty. Like, just look at, oh, I'm so sorry, love.
I know conversation now is really getting good. And we gotta take a break. We gotta take a break. But hold that thought, and for those of you that are listening, because the conversation really is getting, it's getting good. Danita just broke down Genesis chapter 1 in terms of how she's used that in terms of goal setting. So we're going to come back and talk more about that. All right. So you're listening to Dividing Truth with the MAG7. We'll be back. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to the Dividing Truth with the MAG7, where you're getting pure, unadulterated answers for today's business owner right here on Radio Indie. And we have been discussing the topic today: whose vision is it anyway, from existing to living? And so our feature today, Danita Scott, has been sharing her story and how the death of her father really shook up her world and helped her to understand, that she was living someone else's vision at first. And now we've been discussing how she has been shifting, because it's a never evolving thing, but how she shifted from living someone else's vision to now living the vision and stepping into the vision that God has set out for her. And so, Danita, you were talking about Genesis chapter 1, and Rhonda got super excited. We all got super excited. And you were talking about, how you use that as a template for goal setting. And, the subtitle for this show is From Existing to Living. And I'm thinking that piece right there, right? If it does not take you from just existing to living, I don't know what else does, right? I don't know what else does. So let's continue that discussion. You were getting ready to say some things before we went to break.
Yes, and my environment got a little loud. Come on, my TV. So tell me if y'all can hear me through this. Is that better? Is that better?
I can hear you. We'll wait and see if we have any comments from the guests. But go ahead.
Perfect. So yes, I was talking about Genesis chapter 1. And so if you look at it, because we're talking about goal setting, doing what you have to do in order to move forward. And I need to see like how things work in the beginning. So if you look at verse 14, it says specifically that in verse 1 it says he created the light, which is amazing, right? Because we all need light. But then in verse 14 it says he created the sun, moon, and stars. So what you're saying is from the beginning it was just light. And then later he actually created what you needed, which was sun and moon and stars. It just blew me away because I asked God, do I have to create something that's so perfect in the beginning? And I don't. I can present the very best of what that version has to offer, and that can be blessed. And then I can improve upon what he's called me to do. And he did it in steps. That's what gets me. It's like we always somebody give us something to do. We want to do it all now. We think it needs to be perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. We think that we have to do it everything right now. God builds upon it. Did we miss that, right? He builds upon it. He didn't do everything in one setting. And then he also found time to rest in the midst of that. Yes. And so, oh, Danita, yes, like, I'm like a kid in a candy store now. You're talking my language, girl. You're talking my language. That's all makes me say yes, yes, yes. But yeah, I just love how I saw God create a process for what he ultimately wanted, which was his family and to expand his kingdom upon the earth. And he didn't, as excited as he was to have a man, he didn't create man first because that was an out of divine order. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, we have to allow ourselves to be inside the divine order for our lives. To be inside of in this season, one thing I can afford is bell share. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to maximize this bell share for boom. And then when I get 2,000 subscribers, I'm gonna do the next version of what's best for me. I don't have to get the top every single time because maybe that's not what I need today.
Yeah. That is so good, Danita. If you can turn your mic up. I think someone said that you're coming in low, but that is so good, because you, as entrepreneurs, coming out the gate, a lot of us make that mistake thinking that everything has to be, perfect, or whatever we think is perfect. And so we rush, and, try to get a website together because somebody said you got to have a website first, and, your business cards and all this stuff, because it gives you credibility. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't, but it's like when you do all that out of order, then you end up having to do it all over again, you know? So, yes.
Here's the kicker to that. This just hit me when you was talking to Nita. So you said he did not create man man first, right? So when we think about man, we think about that visible piece, right? So if God created me and I'm on the earth, you can see me. That's not what he created first. He didn't create that visible piece first, right? So that right there, when you said that, I was like, God, that should kill pride, self-centeredness, all of it. That should just take care of all of those that we see as people that, oh, it's all about me. It's not about you. God didn't even create it about you first.
Hmm.
I,
Listen, this is epiphany today, right? Oh, I know Genesis 1, but I never heard it broken down like that before, Danita. I'm telling you. And I also thought about a seed as you were talking, right? When you plant a seed, you're not going to see the tree.
Right.
Everything, it has to be broken down under the earth, and
Has
the
to
roots
die.
Wow.
The
before
seed
the
dies.
tree comes above ground.
Yes.
Listen, you just put a
but
oh
literally, a seed,
God.
in order to produce, and literally the seed, in order to produce, it has to die. It has
Yep.
to die to its own enemy. It has to die to its own, like everything it was has to die so who it actually is could live. And so if we take it back to my life, when my dad died, everything in my life had to die so that I could live. I couldn't live in that old version. I couldn't submit to that old version. I couldn't be that old version of me. I couldn't show up in life anymore and wait for one day someday maybe Jesus will do. He won't do it. He sent me here to do it. Genesis chapter 1
Yes.
verse 28. He created us to dominate. And so therefore, if I'm not dominating, I'm not in the will of God.
Yes, yes, yes. So say, I mean, that part, okay, that part where you said, okay, in order to go from existing to living, you must die. You must die. And that's a daily thing because you mentioned earlier too about, when I asked you, well, whose vision is it anyway? And you talked about it being God's vision, but how, every day you have to tell yourself, okay, sit down. You know what I'm saying? Because this is God's thing. So daily dying, and that seed, using the analogy of the seed, is so powerful because if you understand how the seed works, like you said, before any life can come from that thing, it has to die. It has to die.
And we want to reject that as a part of the growth process. We want to say,
Mm.
well, if my old vision doesn't die, then my vision can't work. Maybe you need to tear everything down and just shut it down and go on sabbatical and heal, right? Maybe you need to shut everything you had down so you can die to the old plan and resurrect your life to the new plan because your old plan is not producing the fruit you desire.
Mm.
Come on, Anita.
I just needed to pause for emphasis because I need people I'm like, Ron, I need people to understand
Listen,
what
I'm
you're
about to
saying.
run around this house. I'm about to run around this kitchen right now.
I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a great word. Such a great word.
I didn't know you were about to preach, Danita.
I didn't mean to, but listen, when I asked God, I said, well, you were the most successful goal setter. And anything that we want to see on the earth is already written in the word. And so if we just take it and make it practical, like I don't like taking something like that and then like make it spiritualized. So therefore, like when I tell my clients when they're starting out, I teach people how to build online courses. I was like, you better start with all the free stuff that you can learn and maximize on the free. Because if you don't maximize on it, you don't need to pay. All it's going to do is frustrate you. And then you're going to feel insufficient. And that's not the problem. The problem is you need to master the one.
Mm. First, there was light.
I agree. And when you say it was good,
Mm.
nothing you can say when she finishes. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's why I said you use the word so eloquently. You just be like, okay.
Like you know what it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when entrepreneurs don't realize how good they are for even stepping up to the plate and saying, I'm going to go and try to accomplish the will of God for my life. Like, there's so many people who ignore that call. They hear that call, and you try and you fail. Like, you try and
sometimes the first thing we'll do is curse it, but and get better. That's hurt. That's a trend.
Mm.
Even if it gets better, it's good.
Mm.
Because we do our words, the words are thoughts, and the words that we speak over ourselves, over our business, even over other people. It's just horrible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But we have to change that. We have to change that, but that's also part of that mindset change. And if we in the word, you'll see, even when God was displeased, right? You didn't see him speak certain things over people. Even if he was
Mm-hmm.
displeased with you, that's not what he did. Yeah.
No, no. And so that creative power in your words is so critical in how it relates directly to anything you're doing in entrepreneurship. You have to be the authority figure in your life as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, and speak life over everything you're doing. If you're sending out an email, I'm speaking life over this email, right? People are going to get connected to this. If you're posting a video, listen, this video is about to change lives. If it changes one life, that's all I need. You know, I'm speaking life over this. And in that process of speaking life, you actually see life the way it was designed to be. So,
The dog, right? Dog celebrating. Oh, that is so important. That really is so important because, like you said, Ron, way too many of us are not being very intentional about the words that we speak over our day-to-day actions. In our business, in our day-to-day activities, in our business. Yeah. Wow.
I don't know. I feel like this segment, I know this is about Danita's story,
Yeah.
but I think we touched on something that's so important here and so vital for the shift to happen in people's lives, for them to be able to move to their next, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to become greater in what they're already doing, that this is a subject that we need to come back and actually have another full show on.
Yeah.
Because, Danita, thank you for opening up this conversation, but I think it's vital. So, but we
and
continue the
as
conversation.
much as I miss my dad, and I'm so grateful for all that he did, for me, for my family. If he wouldn't have died at that point in my life, I still wouldn't have been here. And so his assignment has to be completed so I can fulfill mine.
Yeah.
Mm. That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's heavy, but it's good. And then you take that and really do something with your life and look at your goals. Sometimes it can start real simple, okay, I just need to clean up the house today. But that's success to me.
Well, you're
Organize your desk. That's success. And
y-
then move forward from there.
yeah. Well, I'm queen of three, right? I only have three things to do on any given day. Whatever it is, it's three things. That's it. I don't have these whole long to-do lists or a bunch of, or even if not even just daily, but even um, goals, long-term goals. Sometimes, we might write 10 or 20 things down or whatever. I'm queen of three.
Clean up three. And even in that, there's an app. It's a free app. So, we're talking about practical tools. It's called Commit to 3. And it helps you master 3 goals a day. And you can share that with
Yeah.
team.
Come
So
in.
it's awesome.
It's an app called Commit to 3.
And it's free. You can buy the paid version, but it's $2 for a whole year. So if in your entrepreneurial journey you don't want to spend $2 for a year, we have other problems we need to talk about.
That's for sure.
But that if you go what you're saying about productivity and accountability and all of that, because we always try to get other people to hold us accountable, but you got to start with accountability with yourself first. And in reading, it always tells you you should never put more than 3 things on your list at a time. Like it should be a little notepad, right? Which you can write on a little notepad, which is not more than 3. Because we put ourselves in that situation and then we feel a sense of failure or a sense of incompleteness because we didn't get it done. But in reality, we set ourselves up that way.
Yes, absolutely. And Rhonda, why did you give me a divine revelation of Genesis chapter 1?
Come on, girl, tell it. You just did.
Okay, so if you look at what we amplify version, he said that God created life, and he said it was good, and then he sustained it.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 goals.
Queen of Three.
Created it, he affirmed it, he sustained it, and then he was God for the day.
Girl. You need to post that, baby.
Oh, wow. That was it. That was it. And then he moved on to day 2.
Let's go.
Oh, that's good.
I know. I just saw that. I'm like, that's why I'm glad I memorized it. You know, like that's scripture memorized.
Guys, look, you memorized, so it's all good.
That was it. Then he moved on to the next day. He did nothing else. And even when we look at the word sustain, it means to continue to completion. So when he created light, there was still need to be completed work. If you study physics, they say that light is still
Yes.
out in the yeah. So like sustaining, he's still sustaining. He's still in the sustaining. So what do you need to complete for the day?
Listen. Woo. I'm telling you, this show today, if y'all didn't have y'all big girl pants on or big men pants on or whatever, you know what it for. I mean, like this is the truth. This was the truth. Wow. Right?
Wow. Do you have this? I'm sure you do. Have this effect every time you speak? Yeah, she does. She does. Y'all need to follow her. Where do they follow you at, Danita?
So you can follow me on Facebook at DenishaScott.com, on Instagram under Denisha underscore speaks, and then on LinkedIn under DenishaScott.com. So yeah, that's how you can follow me.
Well, we want to thank you all for tuning in to the Dividing Truth today with the MAG7. Our sister Danita Scott surely did that, divided the word of truth today. So we thank you for tuning in and listening. Yes, Joan, you want to?
I wanted to
Music
say
playing?
something. I need everybody out there to know that Danita Scott will be at my conference bringing the mindset piece. So listen, I need you to be up in there to hear more because we won't be able to stop her. Okay, so I'm
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now listen, everyone, next week, there's a time change. We'll be on at 4 p.m. Eastern instead of 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Write that down. Put it on your calendar. Set your reminders. We'll be on at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern. You've been listening to The Dividing Truth with MAG7 on Radio ND. And we thank you for tuning in today. See you next time.